Hi, this is Jeff Kober, and we welcome you to the last podcast of 2025. This is Disney Insights. Well, I have to admit that the year has flown by quickly, full of highlights, but still spring became summer, and summer went right into Thanksgiving, and the next thing you knew, the year was closing. On many levels, I have enjoyed the parks perhaps more days in this year than in previous years. Unless I'm out of town, I'm usually there once a week, but lately I've found myself easily there 2 to 3 days out of 7. And it's been wonderful. Just during the Christmas season, we have had some really wonderful visits. We'll discuss new attractions that have emerged throughout 2025, as well as moments I have had cherishing the final days of attractions that have now parted. Among all this, I'll share my favorite moment of the entire year. Then, we'll look forward to the new year. I don't believe Disney has yet to disclose all that is happening in the parks in 2026, but there's a solid start to the first half so far. We'll look at each incoming experience and then focus in on what will be the most important announcement to happen in 2026. Finally, we have an announcement that sets the stage for Disney Insights in the upcoming year. So join us as we celebrate 2025 and anticipate all to come in 2026. This podcast is produced by myself and Performance Journeys, which offers training, development, and consultant support to organizations big and small and to entrepreneurs new and established. With a wide variety of resources and long time in the trench experience, we offer workshops, online learning, coaching, and more to organizations that want to build their teams, raise organizational excellence, improve leadership, and create customer loyalty. So check us out at performancejourneys.com. And please support us not only by subscribing to this podcast, but offering up a rating, review, or referral to others. Thanks so much for doing so. And be sure to check out DisneyInsights.com, where we offer key points, photos, videos, links, and more, especially attuned to this week's announcements. Note that YouTube carries now our podcast, so please subscribe to our Disney Insights YouTube page, as it will be more a part of our social media strategy moving forward. Thanks for being part of Disney Insights. Well, let's look at 2025, and I'm just going to start on the really hard part of the year. And that hard part was saying goodbye and having so many things close. It was a time to say adieu to It's Tough to Be a Bug, Rivers of America, the Liberty Bell, Tom Sawyer Island, a shooting gallery, and Muppet Vision over at the studios. At Disney's Animal Kingdom, a big vacancy was left with the loss of Gino, a 400-pound Western lowland gorilla who passed away at 44 in September. All these things have been part of our park experience, whether you go every year or whether you go every 10 years. So many of these things have been a part of our lives. And it's been sad to say goodbye to them, although I've enjoyed that experience of saying goodbye to them because I usually was with several friends and family members. And it was just a good time to remember the memories that we shared in all of that. And when it comes to memories, it was also a time to say goodbye to my dear friend, Judy Daly, who I featured in last week's podcast. If you haven't had a chance to listen to that, and thanks to many who did, please visit this podcast, as it is probably one of the most important podcasts I've given this year. Make sure you scroll to the end where I give my remarks and my summary of my life with her. She was just simply a big part of the last many decades of my life. And so it's been a year of those kinds of closures. At the same time, so many new things have happened. Just one of those things simply was Geo82, which we all love Spaceship Earth. That opened in 82. In Geo82, people are now have the opportunity to experience a lounge that is immersed in kind of the legacy of this timeless Epcot icon. And really at night, you could see it from World Celebration. It kind of lights up the night on that little corner, and makes the park feel a little bit more lived in. More exciting, I think, was Beacon Barrel. And I have to say, I just enjoyed my visits to that. I don't drink, but you could still go and experience some really great Disney insights from it. My 5 favorite things. Number 5 was the glow in the map maker's room. It happens, I think, seemed like it happened about every 30, 40 minutes, but it all came to life and you could see these messages on the wall. And it was really kind of cool. I love the mermaids that were etched in glass, hearkening back to the Pirates of the Caribbean films. There's a very random pirate foot that hangs off of a hammock above. It felt a little bit like Mary Poppins when they tell a joke about a man with a wooden leg named Smith. Elsewhere, there's an entire anchor that's hoisted above the crowd as a lighting fixture. The captain's booths, there are 4 booths in there that are intricately carved wooden panels representing different pirate themes. Adventure, that is showcased with engravings of Jack Sparrow's battle with the Kraken. Freedom, which is symbolized by life on board the ship that can sail as she pleases. Fortune, represented by the discovery of treasures and riches. And then unity, symbolized by the multiple pirate lords coming together. All of those were great. My favorite thing out of Beacon Barrel, though, is Rummy. I just love this homage to the original Barker bird that stood outside of Pirates of the Caribbean. And he makes some very fun visits and it gets the whole crowd going. And there's a great esprit de corps in the room. And when it happens, it really feels like a lot of fun. Food and drink as well, but if you put it together, it just creates more of a full experience in that corner of the park where you are trying to enjoy all things related to Pirates of the Caribbean. So that was a really good add-on this year. One of the big add-ons this year, in fact, probably the biggest add-on this year, wasn't at Disney. It was Epic Universe. And we have to note it because it became a big part of the landscape here. And let me just note a couple of things I love about Epic Universe. Celestial Park at night. We talked a lot in the review about how this becomes a frustrating aspect of the park when you're having to cross over from the different portals. And it can be hot and sunny during the day, but at night, it is stunningly beautiful. When you go into the section through the portal on how to train your dragon, so clever. The theming and the details and the dragons that are part of that. In fact, the other thing I would share about that is one of my favorite things is the Untrainable Dragon show. Seeing that dragon fly above you is really, really a cool effect. I loved Café L'air de la Seine. I hope I pronounced that correctly. It's a little French restaurant that reminded me of my stays and experiences in Paris, and has some great food in it, and was really kind of a highlight of our visit there. And then finally, what I think is perhaps the best Universal Studios attraction ever built, and suitably so because it harkens to some of its best heritage, is the Monsters Unchained attraction. That was really a fantastic experience when we had a chance to enjoy it. Now, on the other hand, another major thing that didn't happen in the Central Florida area, but was a big event, especially moving forward in the next decade, is that Disney is building its first Middle Eastern theme park resort, Disneyland Abu Dhabi. This was announced this year. It's going to be built on Yas Island in partnership with Miral, who already has a big resort going on there with Warner Brothers World and SeaWorld and Ferrari World. It's an impressive resort experience, and this Disneyland park is going to be the crown jewel of that. It will feature advanced technology, unique Emirati design with a modern castle and iconic stories. It won't open till probably 2030 to 2032 when it opens as Disney's 7th global resort. And it won't be owned by Disney. But nobody seems to care about that when you visit Tokyo Disneyland, which is also not opened by Disney. They just simply enjoy the magic. So this is going to be an important milestone in the decades to come. So yeah, the opening of Epic Universe and the announcement of the new park in Abu Dhabi, these are major, major things that have happened. So the other things seem to be a little less than that, but still they were great parts of what already is a tremendous resort, that being Walt Disney World. The Little Mermaid musical adventure is an example of that. Been here for decades, but it was kind of a lost casualty just before or after during the COVID period. This show just didn't come back like everything else did, but it has come back this last year with a new look, new effects, new script, just about almost everything new in that show. Now, some things that were done before are missed. I'm looking at you, laser lights. I thought they were kind of cool in the mist of the water in the audience and so forth. But other things were really welcomed. It's not a perfect show, but it's great that this venerable show is returned to Disney's Hollywood Studios. A lot of people didn't think it might even come back because in the last 10 years we built the new Little Mermaid attraction at Fantasyland. But this Mermaid's got legs, and as a result, it is still a part of the experience at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Also, at that same park, Disney Villains Unfairly Ever After. I got to tell you, this is a favorite. I try to visit whenever I'm in the park. I love it even more than the Little Mermaid show. And especially when I get to bring folks who haven't been there or haven't been in a while, I try to influence them to going to this show. It's air conditioned, perfect for summer, and it's a fun show. Got a great song to it. And I'm still trying to get Hook voted in as the most unfairly ever after treated villain. For all my visits, it always seems to be Maleficent at the end, but it is possible to vote in. Maybe I need to make posters or start a campaign during the show. I don't know, but at any rate, if you haven't seen Disney Villains Unfairly Ever After, it really is kind of a fun treat. It's out of the way. You're not going to go buy it and say, "Oh, I should go to it." You have to remember to do it because it is right past Rock and Roller Coaster, so it is a little bit out of reach, but it's still worth going to see. Now, one of my absolute favorite things at Walt Disney World, probably my favorite thing to have happened at Walt Disney World this last year, is Disney Starlight Dream the Night Away Parade. This was, in my view, joyously welcomed by myself when it made its first appearance this last summer. I think there are improvements ahead. I'd like to think there's more budget and additions to be made, particularly in more characters, and more dancers along the parade float. But this parade has great bones and hopefully a long future ahead of it. I love the soundtrack. I love its blending of Spectrum Magic and the electric parade. And I love the choice of floats that they've made, even Wish. And I think the ending float train, so to speak, literally, is really superb. I just think if you haven't seen this show, you need to see this parade. It's just a good night kiss to the evening, and sets the stage for Happily Ever After that follows it, or maybe you see it after Happily Ever After, because many nights it plays twice, before and after the fireworks. You really need to see this parade. It's lovely and wonderful. Don't come with any assumptions. There are better parades out there, but this one stands on its own merit and is really worth it. Now, Test Track 3.0 came along this year. There are many reasons to like this new version of Test Track. There are also many who still miss the original version of this ride. For me, I missed the original world of motion before any of the Test Track, but hey, you got to move on, right? And this much I do know. There is no one I've heard of from that misses the last 2.0 version, as I feel this one is much better than the last one. You might still argue that 1.0 was best, but this one is certainly better than the last one before it. So many wonderful Easter eggs throughout it that I keep finding, and that my friend Nick keeps pointing me toward. I also believe it is better than the first one. It's not perfect, but every time I go, I find more reasons to really like it, to anticipate it, to experience, to find ways of enjoying it. It's kind of like the Mermaid or Villain show. It's not a great queue, but they did do some things that really stand out and make the experience very unique. Then we have Zootopia Better Together. Now, like Test Track, I find something better about this show every time I visit. I know that there's a lot of controversy whether or not people really like this. If you don't embrace Zootopia, you probably aren't going to appreciate the show that much. Certainly, those who really like Zootopia and those who have seen the movie are going to like it a lot more than those who don't. By the way, I kind of mentioned in my review that there was a lot of netting going up. Apparently, there are permits. There is something happening to the Tree of Life, and I believe it is about having sort of a rehab in the same way that we're going to talk about Cinderella Castle in a moment. It really has not had a major rehab since opening. And so I think that's what's heading there. But don't be distracted by the fact that all that may be going on. Whatever it does happen, know that you need to check out Zootopia Better Together. I brought some family in that kind of, but they actually walked away quite liking it. And I think you will too when you go on it. We should mention the Disney Destiny. Many were very enthused about this newest ship that just premiered. Many thought that the Treasure that came out in 24 was better than the Wish that came out prior. This ship, the Destiny, took a turn by highlighting not a land approach, kind of like the Fantasyland Princess Castle element in the Disney Wish, or the Adventureland-like element for the Disney Treasure. Instead, it took on a heroes or villains, and it sought to deepen the interactions guests have with those heroes or with those villains, kind of in a similar way that Star Wars Intergalactic Space Cruiser did with folks on board the Halcyon. It's a deeper level than just a meet and greet kind of experience. And so that ship joined the fleet this year, and it is just more reasons to go visit, go take a Disney cruise. Now, finally, here's my favorite highlight of the year. It was Disneyland's 70th anniversary, and there were so many things that made this the best part of 2025 for me. Number one, it's Disneyland. You just can never be wrong with Disneyland. It is so charming and so lovely and so much a piece of the Disney heritage that you feel it as you go through the park. Number two, the addition of the third new verse to It's a Small World, which they premiered with a video in the Main Street Cinema. That's still a cinema there on their Main Street, but they also have premiered it in the finale scene at It's a Small World at Disneyland and in the finale scene here at Walt Disney World. So if you can't make it to Disneyland, at least check out It's a Small World, where you'll see that third verse come to life. Number three, Pixar Pals Parade was surprising to me. I expected new floats, but the energy and the enthusiasm, if you haven't been to my YouTube channel, I've got a couple of videos on it, including this little thing they do at the end, where at the very end of the parade, as they are about ready to go backstage, they do this dance-a-thon kind of thing. It's just so great, so much energy. And then we talk about parades. Paint the Night may be the winner of all parades. It is truly an amazing parade. If you haven't seen Paint the Night, you have to see Paint the Night. And then finally, the number one thing that was absolutely why I made sure that I came for the 70th anniversary. The new attraction, Walt Disney: A Magical Life, which included an animatronic of Walt Disney. Uh, it was unique, and it made me excited about the possibilities of what lies ahead for Disney Imagineering and animatronics. A big part of Disneyland's 70th celebration this year has been our ongoing podcasts, highlighting each of the lands of the happiest place on earth. I got to tell you, I've enjoyed those, and they will continue. We'll continue those into the new year, beginning with Toontown, and then we're going to go to finalize with Fantasyland. We've done Tomorrowland and Main Street and Adventureland and New Orleans and Bayou Country and Frontierland and Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Now we're going to go to Toontown and then finish out big with Fantasyland. And then even bigger announcements ahead on that, but we're not going to give those today. But know that we're not leaving Disneyland in 2025. And of course, the celebration of Disneyland's 70th continues on through 2026, which allows us now to transition to next year. So let's cover what we know while acknowledging that there's still probably much more to know. But the first thing to say is, if you haven't been to Disneyland, now is the time, I would say, between now and summer, before they put in the end of summer, before they put in the Halloween overlay. That's the time to go to Disneyland's 70th anniversary. Not all pieces are going to be there, but most of the pieces of the 70th anniversary, plus some new things we're going to talk about here, are going to be a part of 2026. So be at Disneyland if you haven't gone in 2025. Now, in 2026, I'm going to mention a couple of things that we don't quite have a date on, that could be anytime, but maybe sooner than later. Certainly for Level 99. This may seem unfamiliar to you. Level 99 is going into the space that originally was Disney Quest and then became the NBA experience, which lasted a total of 48 hours, I think. But Level 99 kind of harkens back to the idea of Disney Quest, in that there are lots of challenges and lots of games, not at the technology level that Disney Quest was, but it is going to offer 60 themed challenge rooms, duels, and art hunts that's going to test your mental and physical powers. And all that with a two-story bar featuring food and beverage and a Detroit-style pizza. There's going to be an opportunity. It's going to be really kind of cool because it will be a great place to go as a family or as a group of friends to kind of have a little bit of friendly competition, face off with one another, and just kind of enjoy an evening. Again, I love many of the entertainment offerings, from AMC to Cirque du Soleil and other things, the balloon and so forth. This is just adding another level of that, and I really appreciate that going in. This next thing, which doesn't have a date either, but is going to happen, it's going to take the better part of the year for sure, but we don't even have a closing date on this thing yet, is that the Walt Disney's Carousel of Progress is going to close for a big reimagining. And at the center of this reimagining is going to be an introduction at the very, very beginning, as you kind of just get your seats, where Walt Disney, as an animatronic, is going to introduce the Carousel of Progress in the same way he did in his television show in the 1960s when it went to the New York World's Fair. So you have to understand, the Carousel of Progress has had more performances than any other stage show in the history of American theater. Mind you, it's a 15-minute show, not a 2-hour Broadway show, but it has made more performances. It continues to rotate and go, and it first was at the New York World's Fair, and then it came to Disneyland as part of their 67 renovation, and then it came to Walt Disney World as Space Mountain and the People Mover were being added to complete Tomorrowland. This is really going to be a very cool thing. And by the way, you're going to follow the family and Rover, which includes John and Sarah. You're going to see what everybody's up to. And it's going to be just a new version of this. So I'm very excited about what could be in this new Carousel of Progress show. I think it's going to be very, very exciting. Then we have moving forward something that's going to happen, going to start right off the bat, is that Cinderella Castle is going to undergo a refurbishment. It is going to come back to, well, let me just say that traditionally the castle's iconic look has always been deep, handsome blues paired with radiant golds, all on a sort of white or chalk white background. And that kind of thing is going to happen again. And it takes a while to do this, to pull it off. Most of it will probably be done at night, but you're going to see some remnants of the day, and it's just going to be they're trying to do it in a way not to affect your photos when you're on Main Street and you want to take a picture of it. But notwithstanding, there's a lot of attention that's put into maintaining this castle over the years, and this is one of those times where, having been repainted for the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World, it was time to really pull something new ahead of itself. Now, on February 2nd, we do have Dinosaur closes. It is truly right now on a countdown to extinction, and if you love it, this is the last month coming up to actually experience this. So you better get there soon. Of course, we know that a new Indiana Jones attraction is going to come away. We're not going to miss this at the end. We're going to be fondly missing it, but not like it's not the same. I think what I am missing, and I think Disney needs to still address this, where are dinosaurs in the Disney experience? Since Fantasia, we've had dinosaurs. And other than our little dinosaur in Echo Lake at Disney's Hollywood Studios, we don't really have a dinosaur presence like we do at Disneyland, which has the train running through the primeval world and all of those dinosaurs. We lost the universe of energy. Part of this has to do with the fact that there has been a massive transition of audio animatronic figures over the last, actually since 2016, which kind of brings us to our next thing. In February 26th, there is going to be a new updated animatronic figures in Frozen Ever After. Now, what most people are thinking about is the fact that, we're going to get rid of those projected faces that were on the, on Kristoff and Princess Anna and Queen Elsa. And that is going to make it look a whole lot better like it is at Tiana's Bayou Adventure, Rapunzel's Lantern Festival, or World of Frozen at Hong Kong Disneyland. That's great news. What a lot of people don't know about the animatronic figures that were created for Frozen Ever After, they were actually the first figurines to have all electric audio animatronic figures, which removes, if you remember maybe sitting in the Country Bear Jamboree, you'd hear this clicking sound and so forth. You would hear it in Small World and other places with animatronics. All of that kind of has gone away, and with the use of combined electric motors and 3D printing, there's been a lot of firsts in this new attraction. And the projection was also a first. That's going away, the projection aspect of it, but still, these are impressive figures for what they were of their time. So that's kind of what's happening there, and we'll see more about how that looks. I think it's going to be fantastic when it comes together. Now, what I should mention is on March 2nd, Rock and Roller Coaster with Aerosmith closes. Actually, The pre-show has already closed. That you see Aerosmith talking in the recording studio, but the rest of the coaster is going to end by March 2nd. And so more to come on that. Now, we do know that Rock and Roller Coaster starring the Muppets is opening summer of 2026. And that's good news. And I think most people are very excited. Scooter is going to be the band manager. He's going to be an animatronic. We're going to see the Penguins as audio engineers, the kind of audio engineers in audio animatronic form. And you're going to see the Electric Mayhem performing. I think there are going to be a few other animatronics that are going to end up being somewhere in the ride loading area or the post-show area. We'll have to see. A lot of theming around the Muppets. I think all of that's good. But Aerosmith is closing on March 2nd, and the other is going to open in summer of 2026. I did mention in a massive, not only a massive podcast, but a really good YouTube video I put together, that on March 29th, the new Disney Adventure World, formerly known as Walt Disney Studios Paris at Disneyland Paris, is going to reopen with its world of Frozen and a lot of other components that have been added on to that whole change. If you haven't studied that, take a look at that on YouTube or listen to the podcast. And then in spring, we get to see Big Thunder. I thought this was going to happen sooner, and that Rock and Roller Coaster was going to end sooner. My opinion is if Rock and Roller Coaster is going to end on March 2nd, the Big Thunder is going to hopefully open right around that time, so that there is not one less. There are not two coasters down at one time, if that makes any sense. And people are excited for this refurbishment. They have done a massive refurbishment to the trains, to the holding area, to the tracks, and also to the whole look and feel of it. They have announced that there is going to be these spectacular natural caverns full of phosphorant pools, which they had earlier, but they kind of died out over time. They're now called Rainbow Caverns. But the interesting thing is that these beautiful caverns, while they are glorious to behold, aren't as friendly as they first appear. And what happens is that with a menacing rumble, the mountain may come alive with these caverns kind of turning dark and a little scarier. And then we expect some pretty significant ending, similar to what's been done in other Big Thunder Mountains. They haven't announced that. I would expect we're going to hear some. I expect within 10 days from now, we are going to hear an opening date on Big Thunder. We're at a point where, unless things have gone really south for them in terms of this rehab, I expect that they're going to lock down on its reopening. Now, also, somewhere in spring, Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin gets to reopen over in Tomorrowland, and I would say that the closing for Carousel may be timed about the time that they open this. I would think that's about time they're going to bring down the carousel so that two adjacent attractions aren't down at the same time. Here we have a new show scene right off the bat, where a character who's aptly named Buddy is going to be your buddy to kind of get you started to how to use your laser guns and so forth. If you look real careful on our DisneyInsights.com, you'll see that the initials on Buddy is IY-HW3. And basically that spells out an acronym, If You Had Wings, which is an homage to the original attraction that was here many years ago in this same space in Tomorrowland. So you get a chance to meet out with Buddy. There's going to be new ride vehicles. They're going to come equipped with video monitors that provide real-time scoring updates. You've got handheld blasters to help you better aim. Heaven knows this was really needed. This was the first Buzz Lightyear's attraction for, shooting gallery style attraction. And they had them fastened to the vehicles, and they learned really quick after that they needed to be able to allow guests to hold them in their hands and move them more freely. So that's going to make that a whole lot easier. And then there's a whole scoring system with different colors, interactive targets that are going to happen as a part of it. So very excited. I like Buzz Lightyear in all the other parks. I've never really liked it much here. I felt like it was overdue for some fixing up, and now they're doing it. So I am very happy for that. Another thing I'm also really excited about as we go into spring, specifically May 22nd, timed to the next Star Wars film, which features Mandalorian and Grogu. Well, good news is in a new storyline at Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, Hondo Ohnaka has gotten wind of a deal going down on Tatooine between ex-Imperial officers and a band of pirates. There's a generous bounty for their capture, so you're going to borrow the Millennium Falcon and team up with Mando and Grogu to track them down and explore the galaxy. So we have a whole new ride experience going down on the Millennium Falcon. Yeah, I am very happy for this. And more so, thrilled that in this experience, the engineers who have been sitting in the back, and I have had my share of time as an engineer, are going to be able to choose between going to several locations, Coruscant, the Cloud City, or Tatooine, and then I think there's new experiences that the gunners are going to have that gives a little more variation than sitting there tapping on the same button through the whole thing. I think it's going to round out the experience for the entire crew on board and make everybody feel like they've got something happen. That's going to happen all, by the way, on May. And oh, by the way, the engineer positions are able to communicate with Grogu during the mission too. Don't know what that means when none of us speak the same language as Grogu per se, but maybe we'll see that he's, picked up a lot more English from Mandalorian. I don't know. At any rate, it's going to be fun. Actually, did I say this right? I said Tatooine. They have a chance to visit possibly Bespin, the Cloud City, the wreckage of the second Death Star around Endor, or the just announced bustling city planet Coruscant. So those are the three choices. Anyway, I think it's going to be exciting, and that's good. The lines are going to, thank goodness they're solo rider lines. That's all I can say for that attraction. Now, moving forward to summer, because that really takes us right into summer. Memorial Day, at least at Walt Disney World, it's going to be closer to the July 4th at Disneyland. Soarin' Across America is going to come to Epcot, from sea to shining sea, highlighting some of the country's natural beauty, iconic cityscapes. I think it's going to be a wonderful way to celebrate the 250th anniversary of America. And so I really look forward to being able to enjoy that attraction. That's going to be a big hit this summer, and there are going to be some serious crowds lined up for it. And in tandem with that is just the whole Disney Celebrates America initiative throughout the entire year. That begins, actually, hopefully you're hearing this podcast before January 1st, because Disney is going to participate in the 2026 Tournament of Roses Parade, and they will have a float that honors the nation's 250th anniversary. And so that's kind of the kickoff so far, although they've done some things with Veterans Group already. ABC's Good Morning America is going to continue its popular 50 States in 50 Weeks. National Geographic's got American Superlative Series. ESPN is going to premiere a new Sports Center segment called America's Team. ABC Studios is going to present a 2-hour primetime special that journeys through the heart of kind of a longer Soren, I suppose, that kind of goes through the country. And then over the 4th of July, there'll be extended fireworks from July 3rd through the 5th at both Disneyland and at the Magic Kingdom Park. All through that, lots of, I'm sure, plenty of consumer products to go with it, and a number of things for veterans and military families. So this is a big part of, I think, what is going to make being at Disneyland and being at Walt Disney World this summer a very attractive thing to do. So look for that. Plus, there are some other things happening this summer. One of those things is that Bluey and Bingo are coming to both Disneyland and to Walt Disney World. This is going to be kind of a character greeting, dance party, photo op kind of thing at Disneyland on March 22nd, as early as the 22nd. I didn't realize so early. They're going to be at the Fantasyland Theater toward the back of Fantasyland. Near It's a Small World. And that whole theater is going to transform into Bluey's school. And they're going to have their best day ever during a fair at the school. And you're going to see the grannies dance with Chattermax. You're going to have some foods tied into it over at Troubadour Tavern. And then Bluey and Sister Bingo are going to take their place on stage and do some things. So there's a whole lot of activity that's going on. They're kind of making that a come and go thing throughout the day, as like they probably did last summer. Then the new Bluey experience is coming to Disney's Animal Kingdom over at Conservation Station. Not a lot said about what this is going to be like over here, but as it says, plus as part of your wild excursion, step outside to discover an experience with animals native to Bluey's home country of Australia. So they're going to tie that in. Oh, and I should mention, Bluey and Bingo are set to start sailing on the Disney Cruise Line. Not sure which, or if it's all of them. There may be a selection of them to go on. I'm not completely sure about that. So it doesn't say necessarily yet, as far as I can tell. Now, in addition to all of that, and again, looking to really make these younger people are happy, the Disney Junior Mickey Mouse Clubhouse Live is coming to Disney's Hollywood Studios this summer. So it's going to go down, and they're going to do a redesign their audience participation show. Apparently, it's kind of Mickey and Minnie going on a road trip to gather their pals, Goofy, Daisy, and Pluto, for a big celebration. That's kind of the theme. It's not a very complex storyline here, but it's a lot of fun for parents to bring in their little ones and to enjoy that show. And it's going to be very tied next door to the magic of Disney animation. Now, they're saying that the Playhouse Disney is going to open summer. They're saying with the magic of Disney animation, it's going to open late summer. So that's a little bit of a bummer. Already that has been completely walled up. We're obviously, when all the walls come down, the building is going to be topped with Mickey's iconic sorcerer hat, which is an homage to the old sorcerer hat we had in front of the Chinese theater. A little smaller in size, but it will be more akin to the animation building out in Burbank. And then there's going to be portraits that come alive. You're going to have an opportunity to draw your own character sketch. So that's moving out of Conservation Station, coming back home where it belongs here at Disney Animation. There's going to be a Drawn to Wonderland playground filled with oversized, with an oversized garden and some musical instruments, a Mad Tea Party play set, a Tulgey Wood exploration area, all inspired by the drawings originally made of Mary Blair for Alice in Wonderland. And then there's going to be some really clever meet and greets that kind of play off of the animation process of story, layout, hand-drawn animation, computer animation, lighting, effects. You're going to be Mulan in the story department posing in front of an oversized storyboard panel, or in the background and layout department, you're going to see Rapunzel doing a meet and greet against kind of a classic multi-plane camera type setup. It's going to be really kind of clever how they're really kind of tying in those photo areas that have been in that plaza area. Sunshine Plaza. We talked about the name of that plaza a number of podcasts ago. So at any rate, there's a whole lot going on there, but it does look like it's going to be toward the end of summer. Also, at the end of summer, August 14th through 16th, D23, the ultimate Disney fan event. Tickets are going to go on sale in the spring. They are extending the experience. Wednesday, they're going to be on August 12th have D23 day at Angel Stadium. They're going to have on Thursday a D23 day at Disneyland Resort. And then Friday and Saturday will be the Convention Center and the Honda Center. They'll repeat that kind of approach that they did last time. And that's going to be a big event because we're going to hear more things about some of the big announcements that were made previous. We're now going to probably see models of those things and hear greater details. We're probably going to get a bigger understanding of what this new Abu Dhabi park might be all about. Things happening internationally. Lots going on there. Now, all these things are happening, and there's one thing that will happen this year that is more important than anything else that is going to happen this year. And that will be that there's going to be a new Disney CEO named. And in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if it happens within the next couple of weeks. This has been a discussion point for some time. It is interesting, as others have talked about. Bloomberg went to 700 entertainment experts, and they did a little survey on a number of things. I mean, like, who do you think is going to end up owning Warner Brothers, or what may be the concerns of the Warner Brothers deals and so forth. But then they asked the question, who will be the CEO of Disney in 2027? The top answer, with 212 votes, was Josh D'Amaro. Dana Walden came around with 159. Humorously, Bob Iger came in at 126, which is a lot of people saying, I don't think he'll ever leave. But that's like 1/5 of the respondents thinking Bob Iger isn't going anywhere. So that's kind of humorous. But, and others think it might be an outsider, another Disney candidate. I think that pretty well is playing out to be. I think it's going to be interesting who would be Josh D'Amaro's replacement, which I would point toward the individual who, and I can't remember his name, who is running the Disneyland Hong Kong park. Who is that individual? Well, no, actually, it's not Tim Spiko, but Sipko, but before it was Michael Moriarty, and I think he may be an individual who comes to the surface because he has moved to a global role for Disney Enterprises. So I think he's probably the one likely, but again, Josh has put into place so many things that are going to happen for the next decade. I don't think that somebody new coming on board is going to make a big set of changes to what has been already announced. But I do see that Michael Moriarty might be the second. Now, what I would prefer more than any one thing would be maybe more than one person running the company. It's gotten big. I think it needs kind of I don't know if it's a partnership or a threesome that maybe breaks the ties. What would that look like if they did that? I think there's some ways of maybe bringing both of the lead candidates to the table on this, meaning not just Josh but Dana Walden. I should say that there was another question asked in this. Panelists ranked their favorite movie studios in town. Universal was twice of anybody else, and Disney was in 5th place after Netflix and Apple. That's not speaking well to Disney. And if the neighborhood, if people in the industry are saying, I'm not, maybe there's a need for something to be addressed there. I don't know how that plays out, but just know that that's something to be considered. Any rate, that's the big announcement, and we will definitely have more to come on that. But know that that is the most important thing coming in 2026. Now, all that said and done, there is also an announcement from Disney Insights. We have, over the last several years, instituted a Patreon-style program. And my sincere thanks to those who from day one joined and in some way sustained this podcast. I really appreciate each of you individually for what you've done and for the collective whole of it. That said, at the end of December, and today is the 30th, so it means tomorrow, the Patreon group will be going away. While I've had some unique offerings, they were not probably what people consider aligned to in a Patreon group, which is usually more podcasts or streaming events. I will continue doing podcasts, and I will actually add more streaming, but that's not where I'm putting my emphasis. So therefore, Patreon group, the Wayfinder group, is coming to an end. And I really look forward to announcing something really new and unique and wonderful in its place. That will be in an upcoming podcast in 2026, so please stay tuned. Know that if you want more of the magic, we will be providing it in more ways than ever before. Now, a couple of things in finishing. Hey, don't forget, if you're thinking with all these things coming in 26, I need to book a trip to Disneyland, Walt Disney World, on the cruise lines, please link up with David and Leah with Zenola Travel, as they are going to help you pull together that vacation. There's no charge to utilize their services, but it will save you enormous time getting all the details right. And you can be assured that you're going to get the best trip possible. Remember that if you want to, again, explore the magic further, visit our books on Amazon, whether it's A Century of Powerful Disney Insights, 100 Years, or The Wonderful World of Customer Service at Disney, or Disney Leadership in You. Check those out on our Amazon page, and they're also featured on both Disney Insights.com as well as the page that goes with this podcast. And then if you're looking to find excellence in your organization, please know that we've been doing this for more than 20 years, providing keynote speakers, consulting, support through classroom, online, workshops, seminars on customer service and leadership development, employee teams, so forth. Reach out to us at Performance Journeys, which is the sponsor of this podcast. Again, thanks for joining us. Know that, as in the title of Performance Journeys, it's as much about the journey as it is about performance. Find the second star to the right and keep going straight on till you reach it. Follow the compass of your heart and know with a smile, a song, a little faith, effort, and pixie dust, your dreams can come true. After all, if we can dream it, we can do it. Until next time, bright suns, we'll see ya real soon.